In the symphony of existence, the crescendo of goodness will drown out the dissonance of evil, and the harmonies of God's kingdom will resonate eternally. Amidst the shadows of adversity, the brilliance of goodness will shine as the dawn of God's kingdom breaks, dispelling darkness with the triumph of light. In the tapestry of time, every thread of evil will be woven into the grand design of redemption, revealing the masterpiece of God's kingdom. When the tempest of darkness rages, the unwavering light of goodness will guide us to the shores of God's eternal kingdom. The journey from despair to hope is the path paved by the triumph of good over evil, leading us into the radiant dawn of God's everlasting kingdom. As the phoenix rises from the ashes, so shall the triumph of good ascend from the trials, heralding the dawn of God's resplendent kingdom. Beneath the weight of adversity, the wings of goodness will carry us to the summit where we witness the glory of God's kingdom unfurled. In the heart of the storm, the gentle rain of goodness will quench the fires of evil, paving the way for the flourishing fields of God's kingdom. Beyond the horizon of despair, the sunrise of righteousness will mark the triumph of good, illuminating the landscape of God's eternal kingdom. In the cosmic dance of right and wrong, the steps of goodness will lead us to the grand finale, the establishment of God's kingdom, where love reigns supreme. In the grand theater of existence, the final act is a masterpiece, where the forces of good take their bow, and God's kingdom claims the stage. Through the ashes of adversity, the phoenix of righteousness will soar, signaling the triumph of good and the advent of God's everlasting kingdom. In the symphony of salvation, every note of evil is overpowered by the triumphant melody of goodness, echoing the arrival of God's kingdom. As the night of despair surrenders to the dawn of hope, so does the victory of good herald the emergence of God's kingdom. Amidst the ruins of darkness, the architecture of virtue will rise, laying the foundations for the eternal city of God's kingdom. The stars of righteousness will outshine the darkest night, guiding us to the celestial shores of God's triumphant kingdom. In the garden of perseverance, the flowers of goodness bloom, foretelling the fruitful harvest of God's kingdom. The tapestry of time is woven with threads of redemption, each strand telling the story of the ultimate triumph of good in God's kingdom. Through the storm of adversity, the lighthouse of virtue stands tall, guiding ships to the harbor of God's victorious kingdom. In the cosmic struggle, the constellations of righteousness align, revealing the celestial map to God's everlasting kingdom. The journey from darkness to light is paved with the stones of resilience, marking the path to the radiant gates of God's triumphant kingdom. In the alchemy of existence, the base metal of evil transmutes into the gold of righteousness, heralding the dawn of God's kingdom. As the phoenix of justice rises, its wings fan the flames of goodness, lighting the way to the celestial throne of God's kingdom. Through the labyrinth of tribulation, the thread of goodness guides us to the center, where the triumph of God's kingdom awaits. In the cosmic dance of forces, the choreography of good prevails, leading us to the grand finale, the establishment of God's eternal kingdom. Through the lens of virtue, the distorted image of evil is clarified, revealing the true beauty of God's kingdom. In the garden of righteousness, every thorn of evil is replaced by the blossoms of grace, announcing the arrival of God's eternal kingdom. The phoenix of righteousness emerges from the ashes of despair, spreading its wings over the landscape of God's triumphant kingdom. The symphony of salvation crescendos with the triumph of goodness, echoing the arrival of God's kingdom in majestic melodies. In the mosaic of existence, the pieces of goodness fall into place, forming the breathtaking image of God's victorious kingdom. Through the tempest of tribulation, the ship of virtue sails resolutely, reaching the shores of God's triumphant kingdom. The stars of righteousness pierce the veil of darkness, revealing the celestial path to God's eternal kingdom. In the crucible of time, the impurities of evil are purged, leaving behind the pure gold of God's triumphant kingdom. As the phoenix of hope rises, the ashes of despair are scattered, making way for the dawn of God's everlasting kingdom. Through the labyrinth of life's challenges, the thread of goodness guides us unerringly to the center, where God's kingdom awaits. The tapestry of redemption is woven with threads of sacrifice, each strand contributing to the masterpiece of God's triumphant kingdom. In the cosmic ballet, the dance of righteousness prevails, leading us to the grand performance, the establishment of God's kingdom. The triumph of good is the climax of the cosmic narrative, signaling the fulfillment of God's plan for the eternal kingdom. Through the shadows of adversity, the light of righteousness pierces, illuminating the path to the radiant gates of God's kingdom. In the garden of perseverance, the flowers of goodness bloom eternally, announcing the perennial spring of God's triumphant kingdom.